Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing the rapid fire book tag, and I was tagged to do this by Rebecca at The World of Books, so thank you so much for tagging me in this, and I'll leave her link to her channel down below. Let's just get into the questions because there are a lot of them. Ebook or physical book? Definitely going to choose physical book, although I love reading on my e-reader. It's very convenient, and then I can switch back and forth reading on my Kindle and reading on my phone. But if I'm going for the experience of it, I really do like to be actually holding a book. But I really still love my e-reader, so that's just a hard one for me to answer. Paperback or hardback? I love paperback. I feel like I can carry it with me anywhere. I can put it in my purse. It's easy to hold. I like the look of hardback books, but I really do prefer to read paperbacks. Online or in-store book shopping? I mean, online for the prices, but I love going to an actual bookstore and picking up books there as well because I just love the experience of like going down aisles and maybe getting some coffee and just kind of making an experience out of it. Trilogies or series? I'm gonna go with trilogies because sometimes series can get too drawn out, besides like Harry Potter, obviously. Trilogies are less intimidating, first of all, to get into, and they just are well paced because there's like a beginning, middle, and end, and it just works really well. So I do like trilogies. Heroes or villains? I've always been a heroes person myself. I do like villain backstories though, so that's something, but overall I would say heroes. A book you want everyone to read? Lilac Girls, because that was amazing. It's a great World War II historical fiction, and I feel like it's very accessible to any type of reader. Recommend an underrated book. A Fall of Marigolds by Susan Meissner. This is one I've talked about here on my channel when I read it last year because I fell in love with it. I absolutely loved the story, one of my favorite reads of 2017, and I don't think anyone really talks about it here on BookTube. Adult historical fiction books, it's not even just a feeling, they aren't as popular on BookTube. It's a lot more young adult and fantasy, which I also love, but you know, those are great books out there and they deserve some hype because they're so good, but people just don't know about them. So read A Fall of Marigolds. I love it. The last book you finished? I recently finished Artemis and I really, really liked it. It was great. Last book you bought was my classics edition of Winnie the Pooh, and I'm really excited to read it for the BookTubeathon. Weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? Okay, I don't even really ever use traditional bookmarks, so it's whatever I have on hand. But most recently, I was using like a packet of gauze as a bookmark. Used books, yes or no? I mean, 100% yes. Top 3 favorite genres. Okay, so definitely fantasy and historical fiction and like contemporary romance. Borrow or buy? I borrow everything. You should know that by now if you've watched anything on my channel. I love the library and Overdrive and all of those great resources for getting books because it would be a very, very expensive habit for me if I just had to buy everything. Characters or plot? I'm gonna say if I had to choose one, I would choose characters. Obviously, I would like to have both of them, but I feel like I can't even enjoy the plot if I don't have good characters to start with. Long or short books? Honestly, I love the middle of the road, but I would choose a longer book because I could get into the story more, whereas with a short book, it's harder to get into the characters and the story, so I would rather have a long book, preferably neither. Somewhere in the middle would be great. Long or short chapters? Going with long chapters for this one too. I like short chapters, but sometimes I feel like I can get taken out of the moment when there's too many chapter breaks. So I think I would prefer longer chapters, but I think the flow of a book gets you more immersed when there are longer chapters, but obviously that's just my personal opinion. In the first 3 books you think of, all I'm thinking about are books that I just talked about. The Raven King. I can't even remember the name of the series I'm thinking about, but I think it's called the Iron Fae series. I read those books years ago. And Lola and the Boy Next Door. Books that make you laugh or cry. Really, I love both. It's so hard, but I think overall I would choose a book that makes me cry, not because I like crying, but because if I'm crying, that means I've developed a very strong attachment to the book, and I like getting really into a story. So cry, even though I'd rather not cry, I'd rather just get invested in it without the crying. Our world or fictional worlds? So fictional worlds, because I just love reading about whole new places like epic fantasies and everything like that. It's definitely much more entertaining. Audiobooks, yes or no? 100% yes, with the right narrator, because sometimes it can totally ruin a story if it is done poorly, but I think a really, really good audiobook can enhance the story. So I definitely love audiobooks. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? I mean, Yes, book to movie or book to TV adaptations. I'm gonna say book to movie just because I don't really watch any book to TV adaptations, so I can't really speak for anything that I've watched. A movie or TV show you preferred to its book. Oh, this is so hard. Okay, so The Notebook has always been one that I love the movie more than the book. So this technically doesn't count and it's gonna make Nathan angry, but Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings series is one of my favorite movie series like of all time ever. But I cannot get through the books. I haven't done it. I've only gotten through the first part of the first book. So I know it's not fair for me to say that because I technically haven't read them all, but from what I've read, I just love the movie so much more. Final question is series or standalones? Okay, it is about to rain. I think I would go with series for this one. Sometimes it gets frustrating because I feel like all of the books that I read end up being in a series, and sometimes I just want a story to have one book and have it be finished. But I really love the excitement of finishing a book and knowing that there are more books in the world and knowing that you get to stay in this world that you've really grown to love for so much longer. So overall, I would say I do really love series more than standalones. So that ends the rapid fire book tag, and that was hard to try to think so quickly, but I think I managed pretty well. Thank you so much for watching and happy reading.